Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus here, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. My motto is that thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. I am also a prospective candidate as a write-in for President of the United States of America. At least I've asked you to consider making me just that, knowing that unless your hearts have changed, your minds have changed, there's no possibility of that happening. However, today I want to give you a reason, or more reasons should I say, as to why you should do it. And I'd like to speak to you on the subject matter, the Twilight Zone. I was watching television the other day, and I saw this gentleman who was from the current century. And he had a chance to go back in time travel. And he thought about all of the things that existed: radio, electric lights, television, and so many of the other new adventures and inventions. And he wanted to go back before these things were introduced and see if he could put his mark on them. If he could make them a product of his persuasion, his introduction, so as to amass a great amount of money, to be wealthy, to become rich at these inventions before they were even known. And he went back in time and he was talking to people about automobiles, about planes, and he wanted to introduce situations where oil had been discovered in certain locations. He wanted to buy up the land so that he could prosper from it. And everything he did, people laughed at it. They just literally perceived him as being a nutcase. And life was so miserable to him. So he went back to the author of the time travel and wanted to go back to where he came from. Even though he'd have to live in poverty, even though he'd have to live in a situation where he knew he could have made a big change for the people back in the day, but were rejected because people could not perceive. Simply as those who believed that the earth was flat. It was very difficult for them to accept that it was round. And so he came back to his current time. And he seemed to be a miserable old man because of what he knew and how it affected him in such a negative way. And I talked to you about that Twilight Zone to give you some indication of how I must feel. I am speaking to America, and it comes back to me as though I must be living in the Twilight Zone. I talk to you about peace when everybody else prepares for war. I talk to you about prosperity when everybody is just concerned about themselves, rather than a nation where everybody can have their dreams come true as though they were millionaires. We focus on a gamble that you might be lucky to win the lottery. You might be lucky enough to win a big batch of money so you can be wealthy. And that thought alone is so important to you. Do you rather reach out at that hope, that great possibility that you might be rich one day by winning that lottery, and that overwhelms any idea of you being rich now and everybody else being rich as well. You see, I heard on some kids movie, about being great. And it says, if one man is great, fantastic. But if everybody's great, it's like nobody being great. And the idea of just being great is more important than everybody being great. The idea of you winning a lottery, of you amassing a great amount of money, is more important than all of you being wealthy. Today I heard on the television news about a textgram, some new application that Facebook wants. Whoever produced it was offered a few days ago $500 million for that application. And today I hear that Facebook offers them $1 $1 billion. Just that alone, a man can receive $1 billion for his invention. It's more important than all of you living as though you were billionaires. You see, I talk to you because in this ideology that I hold, it is that nothing belongs to you and I. This discovery that this gentleman just came up with is not his own. It is a gift that was given to that person for the purpose of doing what it does, but not for him to reap such a reward to put him in a category above others. And yet, that's the kind of system that we live in that says if you come up with this, we will reward you. And what is that reward for? Something to innovate you, to motivate you to do more than you would normally do? Not necessarily. What it is a tool that is used to keep your mind off the wheel of the Creator who made you. The Creator, I have mentioned to you over and over again, gave the gentleman the knowledge of electricity that would be transformed into electric lights, not for a profit, a monetary profit, but a profit that everybody who walked in darkness, who needed light to see, could have it. The same thing with television. Those who wanted to see, bring pictures out of the nothingness so that they could be entertaining or give information or do whatever television is used for today, could all benefit from it. The whole, not just America, but the whole world. But somebody said there's a profit in it. So there might be some who can't use it. And if they can, let it be because they are paying the price that we have determined is essential for them to receive the viewing or the hearing of the radio or the phonograph or the computers or the telephones or the iPads or iPod. For money. We say this is the way the market works. This is the way we become a progressive nation. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is also the way we become a nation where our prisons are overflowing. A nation where we are living in poverty. A nation where our homes are being taken. A nation where we are going to food shelves to get food. A nation where we can't go to the regular store to buy clothes, but we have to go to the Goodwill. We have to go to the thrift shop. We have to have raggedy cars. We have to have bicycles now because all of these things are negative. But we say embrace them anyway because we can have a 1%. And at the expense of 99%. And when someone comes to you, as I am today, saying to the 99%, why do you accept what you have been given when it works against you? Why do you continue to embrace it? Why do you pay so much attention to that which works against you and nothing for that works for you? Today, we have a political campaign involving presidential candidates, Republican and Democrats. These are the ones that have been glorified. And we just spent over 8 years as a Republican candidate, a Republican president. And we know what it did to us. We have just spent 3 and going on 4 years of a Democratic president. And we see what it has done to us. And yet we are allowing them to spend hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to come back before us and tell us how wonderful they are for us. And we are buying into it. Even the 99% who are standing up saying it has failed us. It has failed us. We want better. And yet when someone comes to you, as I have, and say you can get better, you won't even pay any attention to it. You're going to run back those polls and vote for a Republican and a Democrat, both who did not serve you well. And I find myself looking at you as though we are all living in a Twilight Zone. I say this, ladies and gentlemen, to you, because this is absolutely lunacy. Absolutely lunacy. How do you think I feel going to church on Sundays and recognizing that there are hundreds of millions of you going to church on Sundays talking about a God, a much wonderful, more powerful individual, a more powerful spirit, a more powerful entity than any of us. So powerful, created the whole individual earth. Created all that's above it, on it, in it, including us. And all the things that exist, trees and cars and with prosperity, and our joy. And as though I'm in a closet speaking to myself, and you're sitting up on Sundays talking about God. What does it mean to talk about God? I received an email the other day. There were 10,000 people, or should I say 20,000 people, sitting in a congregation. Let me bring it down some, because that might be a little hard for you to perceive. Let's say 2,000 people sitting in a congregation. And when they were getting ready to start the service, two masked men walked in with submachine guns. And they said, everyone that's willing to take a bullet for God, who's willing to take a bullet for Christ, sit still. And everybody else leave. First, the choir got up and left. All the ministers on the pulpit got up and left. The deacon board left. And mostly all of the congregation left. And when the end of the meeting took place, there were 20 people left out of the 2,000. And so the gunmen pulled off their mask and told the preachers, now you can go ahead and have your service because we've gotten rid of all the hypocrites. Are you willing to take a bullet for Christ? Are you willing to take a bullet for God? Are you willing to take a bullet for what's right? Oh, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. We are living in hell. And it's very difficult when the devil comes at you for trying to do right. Well, if you're just trying to do right, he'll probably let you go because it will be discovered that you will not be able to hold on. But if you're doing right, you will have people that will come at you and try to destroy you in every way. And you got to fight for it. When I say fight, I don't mean pick up your fist and fight, but I mean you must stand firm for what's truth in your own life. You must stand firm, and if you make up your mind to stand firm, the power of God will be with you, and you will not be alone. And it is that kind of determination, it is that kind of participation that is essentially necessary to change this country in which we live. And I say country because it is that which we have control over. We don't have control over the rest of the world yet. But I tell you that it is hell. Over in Syria, people are killing. Why are they killing? For the power to own something, to control something without others engaging or investing or participating in it outside of the way that those killers want them to have it. We have laws in our own country that protects the interests of those who got some and those who have nothing be damned. Oh, that sounds like hell to me. What does it sound like to you? It probably sounds like America to you. But because I have envisioned the Spirit of the Almighty God and the power of love, it sounds like hell to me. You talk about going to hell if you don't do right. I'm telling you, you're living in hell for not doing right. Oh, but you don't see that. And so that's why we call it the Twilight Zone. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you if you can embrace one another, if you can care about one another, if you want for others as you want for yourself, then you come out of those Republican parties because they only care about their conservative views. If you care about your mother, your brother, your sister, your neighbor down the street, your school teacher, if you care about one another, come out from amongst the Democratic Party because they only care about the group that they care about. And which of them care about all of us? And what do I mean when I say about all of us? I mean that the programs and policies that they come up with embrace all of us, and all of us, each of us, experience and receive from them equally as we desire or need. That ain't happening. So, when you're over there calling yourself loving God and a Republican, you don't love God. You are tricked, blind, stupid, and crazy. If you're a Democrat calling yourself loving God, you don't love God. You're a tricked, blind, stupid, and crazy. Now you say, oh, but if we go for you, then we got something. No, ladies and gentlemen, going for me is not going for Eddie Marcus, not this body. It's going for you. It means that you are a lover of yourself, of your parents, of your friends, of your enemies. A vote for Eddie Marcus is a vote for you, saying that you have realized the truth of life, the value of life, and you are ready to participate. You're tired of playing the game. You're through being tricked, and you are the light of the world. You are the salt of the earth. And because of you, America changes to a real world and not the Twilight Zone. Now, I won't be on that ballot. You must want this program so much. And what program am I talking talking of. I'm talking about a program of you making the difference because you know what's right, because you have to play the part, not some representative over there that's lying to you saying that they will while they go out and support special interests, because the God of America is not the God that's unseen. The God of America is a dollar bill. And he who has a dollar bill is the one who can manipulate and is manipulating our society. Now, what are you going to do about that? I've given you about as much as I can give you in these few minutes that I've had. I've been here 18 minutes. I didn't plan to talk that long. I only wanted to talk 5, but it got good to me. And so I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to go to those polls and write in Eddie Marcus on that ballot because you don't want the others. And if you so do, we might not win to become president. We might not win to become the representative in the White House, but we will win to become the individuals of change. We will win to become a collective body of people who have said no